I hate spending money on video games, not because I'm broke, but because when presented with the option to buy a $60 game or $60 worth of food,
I'ma eat it.
As the ultimate min-maxer, I'm gonna make sure I pay the least amount for the most amount of value possible. This very concept is why most of the games I've purchased on Steam are under $20. But you know, finding good games for cheap can sometimes be very hard. But my experience as a mobile gamer has really given me this ability to just discern trash from a genuinely good game. Whether it be during Steam sales or browsing the $10 and unders tab on Steam, I'm always looking for cheap games to sink countless hours into. Due to the games I played growing up, I tend to have a major bias towards 2D or pixelated games, which luckily for me end up being on the cheaper side of the spectrum. Sometimes I find a game so good and so cheap that I've gone beyond penny pinching. I think I might be Hey guys, EnderHerve here, bringing you another episode of Pixel Pinching. Today we're dabbling into another one of my favorite game genres with Unbeatable, a rhythm game about the challenges of the main character trying to start up her own band. You can pick this game up for free, actually. Wait a second. Is this it? Did we finally reach the peak of the series? Well, not quite. I'm kind of trying to avoid discussing free games, but that's a whole different discussion for a whole other video. But for now, let's talk about one of the exceptions to this rule. It was actually in the making of this video that I found out that this was actually a demo for the real game that's going to come out later this year, but we're still going to talk about it because I like it that much. You see, my favorite kind of riddle games are the relatively simple ones, where there's one or two inputs for the whole game, and I don't really have to worry about pressing several different buttons at the same time. For example, though I love Friday Night Funkin's music and general aesthetic, I cannot play that game to save my life. Like, it's really bad. Having to worry about 4 different buttons and having to click them in rapid succession or at the same time in varying orders literally melts my brain. We'll probably try to get better by the time the actual game releases, but for now, I'm sticking with rhythm games like Unbeatable. In Unbeatable, you hit enemies that come from the top or bottom of the screen to the beat of the song, meaning there are only 2 buttons to know in this game. Of course, there are different types of enemies / notes that require different inputs like holding, mashing, hitting them twice, or hitting them multiple times, but with just 2 buttons, it's a lot easier for me to process. So yeah, the gameplay is pretty solid, but how's the music? I'd say the music is pretty good. There are 5 tracks that are a part of the main story, and 11 tracks total, with some of them being remixes of earlier songs. Since the overarching story of this game is about a girl who's trying to start an indie rock band, most of the songs are, well, indie rock of course. I would recommend playing the game on expert mode if you can handle it. That way it actually feels like you are playing the song. What I mean by that is that the higher the difficulty, the more complete the song will feel as you play it, because there are more notes to hit. If you play rhythm games, you know what I mean. Even though this is only a demo, I really mess with the story elements to this game. I'm not an up and coming artist or whatever, but I can resonate with the overall themes and messages in the story. Especially when it comes to how people perceive you versus how you perceive yourself. I'm excited to see the fully fleshed out version of this story, and I look forward to the full release. So yeah, Unbeatable is a short and sweet rhythm game with a somewhat relatable story. The small amount of songs to play in this demo are good, and I look forward to unlocking even more songs in full release. Last I heard, the game was supposed to come out this year, but there is no official release date posted. Hopefully this game remains in pixel pinching range when it comes out, but even if it doesn't, I'll still be playing it since it's so similar to one of my favorite rhythm games ever. Muse Dash. Come on, you didn't really think I'd end the video after like 4 minutes, right? Like, you know, we got more to talk about here. The reasons why I disguised this Unbeatable review as actually a Muse Dash review, I'm gonna get into very soon. But for now, let's talk about Muse Dash. Muse Dash is a rhythm game which you can pick up for $3 or 44 cents when it's on sale. So the game is practically free at that point, but the amount of content you get for 44 cents, unreal. With the base game, you gain access to 62 songs. If this isn't enough for you though, I highly recommend purchasing the Muse Plus DLC, which is $35 at base, but goes on sale for $21. Now I know that may sound like a lot and go against my whole philosophy, but the game was just that good. I'm telling you, like, once I completed the 62 songs, I had to cop the DLC. And that's coming from a person that hates DLC and doesn't even like spending money. So like, take that as you will. Muse Dash has the same exact gameplay as Unbeatable. with the only differences being that there is no story and the type of music is completely different. In Muse Dash, most of the songs are more like electronic, more like pop, J-pop type thing. Like, we've taken a full 180 from indie rock, I'll tell you that much. Each level has 3 difficulties: easy, hard, and master. Once again, I recommend playing on the hardest level to get a more complete experience. The levels in Muse Dash go up to level 11, which depends more on the song than anything else. If it's a faster song, the chances are its difficulty will be higher. There are also several characters and companions called elfins that you can choose from to gain different bonuses and abilities. Muse Dash levels are mapped extremely well. Even on the easier levels, it always feels like you are fighting the enemies on beat, which is super satisfying. You would think that this is the norm for rhythm games, but I've played some where it feels like you're just clicking buttons whenever instead of with the song, especially when you're playing on the easier difficulties. Right now I can comfortably beat levels up to difficulty 9. I only really struggle when they spam a lot of single notes in a row, cause it makes my hands cramp up after a while. I haven't played all of the levels, but I feel like I've gone through most, and I can't remember any that I didn't really enjoy or felt bad to play. Here's the list of my favorite songs so far. My absolute favorite song is called Disco Night, and is actually part of the base game, but I still haven't been able to get a perfect score on it. So now it's time to address the elephant in the room. Why did I disguise this Muse Dash review as an Unbeatable review? Well, first off, they're kind of like the same game, right? I'm not gonna say they're the same game because that's kind of disrespectful, but like, you know, it's similar in style. 2, the music is definitely an acquired taste. Like, if you don't mess with like electronic music, you're probably not gonna mess with this game at all. But 3, and the most important reason why I didn't want to just, you know, drop a Muse Dash review like just like that, because the art in this game is kind of weird. Like, the kind of weird where you would have a lot of explaining to do if someone who didn't know what you were doing walked into the room. Like, the kind of weird that made me feel uneasy every time I opened up the game. Like, the kind of weird that made me disable 90% of the illustrations in the game and use a character that is some trash drawing of a mechanic who has no dialogue at all. Like, the kind of weird I'm afraid to show in this video. Okay, I think you get the point, but yeah, some of the drawings in this game can be off-putting to say the least. Thankfully, I discovered that you can disable the illustrations, which has made it a lot easier for me to load up the game without having a guilty conscience. I'm kind of making it sound worse than it really is. Like, it's not like actual NSFW stuff, it's just really fan servicey, and I'm just not trying to see all that, really. I'm just trying to play rid of the game, bro. I'm not trying to see all that, so that's what I mean by that. However, once I figured out that you can disable the illustrations, I can confidently say this is one of the most valuable purchases I've ever made in my life. Looking past all the weird art, the amount of content you get for this price is unmatched. If you're a fan of rhythm games like Geometry Dash, then you'll definitely enjoy Muse Dash. The reason why I suggest getting the DLC is because not only does it actually give you hundreds of songs, but every release that comes after that, I'm pretty sure you just get it for free. Like, every few months, or even every month, there's like a new collab that they drop with new songs, and with the DLC, you just get those songs for free. So yeah, Muse Dash and Unbeatable are cheap, simple, and fun rhythm games. If you can't get past the weird art of Muse Dash or don't enjoy the music, then I would definitely recommend trying out Unbeatable and waiting for the full release. If you don't mess with either of them, I've got some other rhythm games I could try to put you onto. In fact, I had no idea of Unbeatable's existence until it made a cameo in another rhythm game that we haven't talked about yet. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you want, and I'll catch you on the flip.